First off, I would like to thank the International Video Game Hall of Fame for the honor of being inducted. As far as reminiscing about my video gaming experience of the 1980s when an anecdote from that time, and providing tips for aspiring gamers today, I thought of something that ties it all together. I am a huge science enthusiast, and I used the scientific method to crack the games back then. And although I haven't learned a new game in a while and haven't played the games that are popular today, the scientific method is a timeless principle that will apply to all such challenges. Basically, the scientific method involves being faced with a theoretical question or a practical problem and formulating a hypothesis that seeks to answer that, and then going out into the field or into the laboratory and testing whether the predicted consequences of that hypothesis hold. For example, Einstein's hypothesis of general relativity predicted that light waves would be bent within a gravitational field, and so astronomers look for that by observing the position of stars near the limb of the sun during a total solar eclipse, which is the only time they would be visible, and the results matched the predicted values, and so the hypothesis was confirmed and was elevated to the status of a theory. Well, in my case, what I would do is think about problems I was having in a game when I had off time away from that game, either problems with racking up more points or simply surviving, or more likely both. And when I would come up with possible solutions, I'd go back and test those ideas in the machine. Battlezone was the first game I mastered, and I still consider it my best game. And I heavily used the scientific method in tackling that game. A game which was basically like chess in rapid motion. Figuring out how to position myself in the field of combat, taking account of threats that were off to the sides or behind me and which I couldn't even see, and putting all the information together to create a mental map of what was happening and how to strategically position myself to survive and take out the enemies. And it got to the point where I analyzed every incident where I died in the game, formulating possible solutions to such a problem when it would arise again, and going back to the machine to test those ideas. I would even take extensive notes from many of the games I mastered, both to memorize things and to provide raw data to use in formulating the next hypothesis. And in the case of the Star Wars trench sequence, I would actually draw out diagrams on paper in order to understand the placement of the obstacles and how I should maneuver around them. Similarly with Star Rider, which is probably my all-time favorite game, sort of like the Road Warrior movie in game format, where I would strategize on how to set up opposing cyclists to run into obstacles to both rack up points and to slow them down so I would win the race. And after testing many such hypothetical strategies, I sorted out the winning ones and went on to achieve the world record. And I wasn't the only gamer during that period to take such an approach. I remember reading in a video gaming magazine about how the world champion of Williams Defender at the time, I can't remember his name, took extensive notes in mastering the game. And I had to learn all these games on my own because there was no one locally who was playing on the level I was striving for, whereas today's gamers have the advantage of the internet. Imagine for a moment a world without the internet. Young people of today may not even be able to do that. So it's easier today to get helpful information and tricks for a given game, but that also creates a double-edged sword. More people have more ready access to helpful ideas, which tends to set the bar even higher. And so if you strive to push the envelope and excel everyone else, there's a point at which you still need to go solo in figuring things out. So in a nutshell, that's what my video game experience involved, and what I would like to convey to the younger generation of players. And once again, I would like to thank all the folks who have directly or indirectly helped me in achieving recognition within this great hobby of ours, and I wish a prosperous future to the International Video Game Hall of Fame.